You ever have one of those moments where you just know your life is about to go off the rails? I mean, I'm talking the kind of day where you're minding your business, maybe tending a campfire in the fading light, and then out of nowhere, some rich kid's voice comes shrieking through the trees. That's him. Mom, call 911 on that damn bum. That's how it all kicked off. Tyler Whitmore's face was beet red, finger shaking at my old wooden cabin like I was some wanted fugitive, except all I was guilty of was wanting a little peace. Before I could even stand up, here comes his mother, Karen Whitmore, the queen of Pine Lake Estates, whipping out her phone like she's dispatching the National Guard. A suspicious man is trespassing on community property. She barks, voice full of that classic HOA flavor. Too much money, not enough sense, you know the type. To them, I'm just some worn-out guy in camouflage, a stain on their upper-crust wilderness retreat. 10 minutes later, it's like the 4th of July. Sirens, blue lights, 3 cruisers barreling down the dirt road, shattering the evening calm. Karen's out front, arms waving like she's landing jets on an aircraft carrier. "There he is! Arrest him!" she hollers. And I'll tell you, I just sat there at the fire watching the flames dance, thinking, yep, another evening in paradise, right? First out of the car is Sheriff Collins. Now, this is a man who's seen some things, creases on his face you can only earn from decades sorting out other people's messes. He takes a few steps, hand on his belt, but something makes him pause. He looks at me, and in that 1 second you could see the gears grinding behind his eyes, recognition, respect, maybe a bit of old pain. Then, clear as a bell in front of everyone, Collins snaps to attention. "Yes, Major General." I swear the words hit the air like thunder. Karen's jaw just about hits the pine needles. Tyler nearly jumps out of his skin. And those other 2 officers, suddenly they're all parade ground formality, snapping to attention like I'm inspecting the troops. Karen, bless her heart, goes from alpha dog to lost puppy in a heartbeat. "What the hell is going on here?" she demands, her voice losing all that bite. Collins turns to her, not just some local cop anymore, but carrying that iron weight only decades of command can bring. "Ma'am, this is Major General Marcus Blackwood, United States Army, retired 6 months ago. He has every legal right to be here." That's when I stood up slow and calm, dusting off my hands and pulling out a manila folder. Karen flinched, honestly looked like she expected me to go full Rambo on her. Instead, I handed the folder to Collins. "These are the original transfer papers from the Department of Defense, dated March 15th, 1987. This cabin and these 47 acres were given to my family for services rendered classified operations." I kept my eyes on Karen, who was suddenly a whole lot paler. Collins checked the papers, his cop eyes zeroing in on the official seals. He just nodded. Those documents weren't going anywhere. Karen snatched them up, flipping through with all the desperation of someone watching her empire slip away. "This has to be fake," she muttered, but you could tell she knew she was done. Collins cleared his throat. "All business. Ma'am, these appear to be authentic federal transfer papers. The gentleman has every right to be here." Tyler looked like he wanted the ground to swallow him. Karen, though, wasn't giving up. You could almost see the wheels turning, already plotting her next move. As the sun dropped behind the pines, casting long shadows, the cops packed up to leave, and Karen just stood there, clutching my papers like they were radioactive. "I'll be checking these thoroughly," she warned, voice as cold as the lake in January. "You won't be staying here long." There was something else in her eyes, though this wasn't just HOA business. Felt personal, like maybe our families had tangled before. Early the next morning, I was up before dawn. Kitchen table buried under Deeds County records and old clippings about Pine Lake Estates. Coffee maker gurgling away, I traced my finger along yellowed survey maps from back when this was still government land during the tail end of the Cold War. My grandfather, Colonel John Blackwood, had used this cabin as a command post, covert supply runs top secret. There was a reason the Army didn't want to let go. In '87, as the military offloaded surplus property, Councilman Robert Whitmore, Karen's daddy, tried to buy the land for his resort project. The Army said no. My grandfather saw through him. There were back-and-forth letters full of threats and political muscle. Whitmore got desperate, pulled strings with senators, even defense contractors. But the final letter, a red stamp transfer, gave the land to the Blackwoods for exceptional service. Whitmore's ambitions slammed shut like a vault. I was still piecing this together when there was a knock. I look outside Tyler Whitmore alone, looking like a kid sent to the principal. He blurts, "I just want to apologize for yesterday. Mom gets intense about property issues and she's stressed about HOA stuff." His eyes darted everywhere. I could see his hands shaking. I offered him coffee, half curiosity, half wanting to see what he'd spill. "Your mom seems to have a personal interest in this property," I said, leaning on the doorframe. Tyler flushed bright red. "She's just protective," he mumbled, but you could tell he didn't believe it. As we sat, I asked, "What's your mom building down by the lake?" He about dropped his mug, eyes wide, voice cracking. "Building... I don't know what you mean." "Yeah, sure, kid." But I'd already found permit applications for infrastructure improvements right up against my line, no environmental studies, which is unheard of, near a lake. I slid one over to him, watched him go sheet white. He stared at the document, hands trembling. "I should go," he stammered, making for the door. "Tyler," I called, using that old officer's tone. "If something's going on that you can't live with, you talk to someone." For a split second, I saw real fear in his eyes, maybe even a silent plea for help. But then the mask slipped back on. "Everything's fine," he lied and bolted. That night it started. Out of the dark, I heard a voice, faint, desperate, calling for help from somewhere underground near the new construction. I grabbed my flashlight, moving quiet as a shadow. The voice came again, female, terrified. Then boom, Tyler steps out from behind, a pine, face haunted. "You shouldn't be here at night," he whispered. And I realized this was way bigger than a property dispute. At first light, I watched him with binoculars. 7:30 on the dot every morning, bringing food and water in a canvas bag, disappearing behind the barriers for 15 minutes. He wasn't running a construction site. He was feeding prisoners. That realization hit me hard. Before I could act, a black sedan rolled up county attorney's office, plus Deputy Turner, looking like he wanted to disappear. "Harold Brennan." The suit shoves papers at me, "Court order for environmental violations, property unfit for habitation." But the case number was wrong. The testing data generic, the judge's signature photocopied. "This is a forgery," I said, handing it back. "Deputy Turner knows it." He just looked at his shoes, mumbling about following orders. Brennan tried to puff up, but I'd played chess with real monsters before. "Harold, you sure you want to bet your future on this? Because I just sent these fake papers to the FBI's white-collar division." That drained the color from his face faster than a bottle of bleach. "You're going to call whoever paid you and tell them their next move better be legal." They left in a hurry, gravel spitting. I tracked down Tyler at the site, and this time he broke. Tears streaming, he finally confessed his mom was keeping 6 people underground, including a girl his age, Isabella. She'd been grabbed coming up from Mexico, 3 months locked up. Tyler said, "I think I'm in love with her. That makes me the worst person because I'm helping keep her prisoner." It all clicked. This was human trafficking. "Tyler, are you ready to help me get them out?" He nodded. "But if she finds out, she'll kill us all." His phone buzzed a text from Karen. "Come home now, or Isabella pays the price." Tyler's face was pure terror. Suddenly, dust rose, 3 black SUVs roaring toward my cabin. "She's bringing Morrison and his crew." Tyler gasped. "These guys aren't local. They're professionals." I dragged him inside, popped a hidden panel, and loaded up military gear. Tyler's jaw dropped. "Who are you really?" "Just a guy who came prepared," I said, clipping a radio to his vest. The SUVs boxed us in. Karen stepped out, business suit and a megaphone voice echoing across the trees. "Surrender now, or we start executing the people in the tunnels." Tyler shivered. She's not bluffing. She's killed before. I radioed Sheriff Collins, federal backup needed. Hostage situation. 15 minutes out. "Can you hold?" He shot back. Roger that, I said. Time for Tyler to be a hero. I sent Tyler through a drainage pipe he'd found. Meanwhile, I set up the cabin for a siege. Morrison's team opened fire bullets rattling off the log walls, but I held them. Tyler radioed, "I've got Isabella moving everyone to the exit." Karen, desperate, screamed, "Kill them all! Burn it down!" But helicopters thundered in agents rappelling into the clearing. Karen's world collapsing. She yanked out a detonator. "If I can't have this land, no one can." And I heard Tyler's voice. "She's rigged explosives everywhere." But Agent Morris, FBI, came on the radio. "All charges neutralized. We've been inside your operation for months. Deputy Turner's been working for us." That's when Karen finally broke, pressing the detonator. The only thing that blew was a light show, flashbangs, nothing lethal. They arrested Karen reading her rights while she gaped, stunned. 6 months later, I sat in a Denver courtroom watching her get life without parole. Isabella's testimony brought down the whole cartel. Over 400 arrests, hundreds rescued, corrupt officials swept out. Tyler, once an accomplice, got a second chance working alongside Isabella to help survivors. My cabin became a center for rebuilding lives, hope in the ashes. Here's what I learned: sometimes the worst villains were the nicest blazers. Sometimes the quietest kids become the bravest. And sometimes love, justice, and redemption are born from the ugliest fights you can imagine. But let me throw it back to you. What would you have done in Tyler's shoes? In Karen's, does the end ever justify the means? Or does justice mean you fight the darkness no matter the cost? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share your stories, your outrage, or your hope. Because this isn't just my fight or Pine Lake's fight. It's everyone's. And as long as we stand together, there's always a chance for justice, no matter how dark it gets.